All right, we're now 4-0 in our last 4 extra daily picks on brockpage.com. And $1,000 bettors are now up over $3,600 during that span. And if you want to access today's extra daily pick, it's only going to cost you just $2.99. And the link for that pick is in the description section below. Now, we're also 3-0 in our last 3 college basketball tier package picks on that very same webpage. And $1,000 bettors are also up over $2,700 during that stretch as well. And as always, guys, all the picks that I give out on my website are my personal bets, games that I personally have action on. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to start with the Timberwolves taking on the Pistons, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off on Thursday, February 3rd, 2022. Now, Minnesota's -7, totals 228.5. And despite a couple of injuries for Minnesota, they still got the W in 6 out of their last 9 ball games. And they're currently leading the entire NBA in scoring on average per game on the road. Karl-Anthony Towns is averaging over 24 points a game, along with 9 boards and 3 assists. The big man's also drilling 41% of his three-pointers. Meanwhile, Anthony Edwards, he's scoring over 22 points a game himself, along with 5 boards and 3 assists. And speaking of scoring in this one, the T-Wolves, well, they definitely like to get off to a hot start. They're currently leading the NBA in first quarter scoring. Now, they're taking on a Detroit team on the other side of things who actually lost 7 out of their last 9. And they're winning only 33% of their contests on the road. They're winning only 33% of their contests at home. Sorry about that. Now, the Pistons have had some serious issues on the offensive end of the court. Detroit's averaging only 102 points per contest, and they're dead last in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage at home. Meanwhile, defensively, they're in the bottom 3 in guarding the 3 ball. So there are issues on both ends of the court for this Detroit team. Now, injury-wise, Pickett and Livers are out. Cunningham and Jackson are questionable. Meanwhile, for Minnesota on the other side, Beverly, Russell, and Okogie, also Bolmaro, they are all questionable for them. When it comes to the total in this one, Minnesota saw their last 4 straight get over the line. They're also 8-1 to the over in their last 9. Minnesota's also seen 73% of their road games this year get over the posted total as well. Meanwhile, Detroit's 70% to the over in their last 10 meetings with Minnesota as well. So if you're into historical trends, certainly think about that one there. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Minnesota -7 and the over 228.5. All right, next ball game. It is going to be Bulls versus the Raptors, 7:30 Eastern start time. Toronto's -3, totals 224. Now, the Raptors are on a 3-game winning streak, and they also cover the number in 7 out of their last 10. Now, the Raptors have played exceptional defense at home. They're allowing only 104 points per contest at the Scotiabank Arena, and they're also in the top 10 in home defensive boards. Now, scoring-wise, Freddie VanVleet is averaging 21.5 points per contest, along with 4 boards and 7 assists. Meanwhile, Pascal Siakam, he's averaging 21 points a game himself, along with 8 boards and 5 assists. Now, they're taking on a Chicago team who has a losing record against the point spread on the road this year. They've actually done a poor job of grabbing offensive boards. As a matter of fact, Chicago's in the bottom 3 in offensive rebounding on the road. Meanwhile, defensively, they've actually had a tough time guarding the 3 ball. They currently find themselves in the bottom 5 in defensive three-point percentage. Now, when it comes to the injury report, Levine is questionable for Chicago. Jones, Caruso, and Ball, they're still out indefinitely as well. Meanwhile, for Toronto on the other side of things, Dragic and Birch, they're still both out for them indefinitely as well. Now, total-wise, the Raptors went 60% to the under in their last 10 outings. 6-4 to the under in their last 10 meetings with the Bulls. Meanwhile, Chicago saw unders recently with Milwaukee, Memphis, and this very Toronto team. I'm going to lean toward the Toronto Raptors -3 and the under 224. All right, next ball game. It is going to be Suns versus the Hawks, 7:30 Eastern start time. Phoenix is -4.5 with the total at 225. Now, the Red Hot Suns are on an 11-game winning streak, and they lead the entire NBA in road wins. Phoenix is currently 19-4 straight up away from home this season. They covered the point spread in over 65% of those contests. Devin Booker's averaging over 25 points a game, along with 5 boards and 4 assists. Meanwhile, Chris Paul is scoring over 14.5 points a game himself, along with double-digit assists as well. Now, the Suns are arguably the best shooting team in the NBA. They're actually first in the entire league in offensive field goal percentage. Now, Phoenix is taking on an Atlanta squad who may have to go to work without their star, Trae Young. He's currently battling a shoulder injury. Now, the Hawks have also had their struggles defensively this year. They're actually in the bottom 10 in the league in points allowed per contest, and they're also in the bottom 10 in defending the 3-ball. Now, the Hawks also failed to cover the point spread here recently against the likes of Toronto and New York. And when it comes to the injury report, once again, Trae Young is questionable. Hunter is questionable as well. Meanwhile, for Phoenix on the other side, Nader, Payne, and Shamet, they're all still out indefinitely for them. When it comes to the total in this one, Phoenix saw overs recently with Brooklyn, Minnesota, and Detroit. They're also 60% to the over in their last 10 against the Hawks. Meanwhile, Atlanta on the other side of things, they saw 6 out of their last 10 get over the posted number themselves. I'm going to lean toward Phoenix -4.5 in the over 225. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be Heat versus the Spurs, and that's going to be in 8:30 Eastern start time. Miami's -4.5 on the road, totals 220. And although they're favored by a couple of buckets on the road here, the Heat's in a bit of a slump here recently. They lost their last 3 straight, and they also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 7. Now, Miami's also having some injury problems here today as well. Tucker, Lowry, Butler, and Martin, they're all listed as questionable. Now, the Heat's currently playing just .500 basketball on the road this season, so as good as they've been kind of lackluster when traveling. And they're also in the bottom 10 in second quarter scoring away from home as well. Now, Miami's taking on a San Antonio team who actually covered the point spread in 3 out of their last 5 themselves, and they score a whole bunch of points at home. As a matter of fact, the Spurs are in the top 3 in the NBA in home scoring on average per game. And they're also making 48% of their field goals at the AT&T Center. Now, when it comes to the offensive production individually here, Keldon Johnson, he's scoring over 15 points a game, along with 6 rebounds and 44% shooting from 3-land. Meanwhile, Derek White, he's scoring over 14 points a night himself, along with 3 boards and 5 assists. Now, the Spurs currently find themselves in the top 10 in the NBA in shooting the 3-ball at home. When it comes to the injury list, Pirtle, Collins, Bates, Diop, and Landale, they are all listed as out. Meanwhile, Murray and McDermott are questionable. Now, for Miami on the other side of things, once again, Tucker, Lowry, Butler, and Martin, they're all listed as questionable. Meanwhile, Opala and Yurtseven, they are listed as out. Now, total-wise, the Heat saw their last 7 straight ball games all get over the posted number. They're also 19-9 to the over in their road games this season. Meanwhile, the Spurs on the other side of things, they are 19-8 to the over at the AT&T Center themselves. I'm going to lean toward the San Antonio Spurs +4.5 in the over 220. Next contest I have for you, the Battle of Los Angeles, the battle for the Crypto.com Center. I'm talking about the Lakers versus the Clippers. 10 p.m. Eastern start time in the Crypto Building. The Clippers, are -4. Totals up to 218.5 already. And despite being favored in this one, the Clippers lost 2 out of their last 3, and they actually have a losing record against the point spread in the Crypto Building. The Clippers are scoring only 106 points per contest in Los Angeles, and they're also in the bottom 10 in the league in offensive boards. They're taking on a Laker team who covered in 3 out of their last 5. And they also have a 16-12 record in the Crypto Center as well. Anthony Davis is scoring over 23 points a game, along with 9 rebounds and a couple assists. Meanwhile, Russell Westbrook, he's averaging over 18.5 points a game himself, along with 7 boards and 7 assists. Now, the LA Lakers, they currently find themselves in the top 10 in the NBA in second quarter scoring. So if you're into prop betting, maybe you want to lay a little second quarter spread with the Lakers, or maybe a little second quarter over. But anyway, once again, the Lakers are in the top 10 in second quarter scoring. Now, injury-wise, LeBron's out. Kendrick Nunn is still out as well. Meanwhile, for the Clippers, Zubac is questionable. Scrub and Preston are out. When it comes to the total, the Lakers saw 4 out of their last 7 ball games get over the posted number. Meanwhile, the Clippers, on the other side of things, they saw 7 out of their last 9 get over the line themselves. Those were overs against the likes of Indiana, Miami, and Orlando during that stretch. I'm going to lean toward the Lakers +4. And the over 218.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup of the show. It is going to be Kings versus the Warriors. And that's going to be a 10 p.m. Eastern start time. Golden State's -13.5, totals 224. Now, Golden State's on a 7-game winning streak, and they're leading the entire NBA in home wins. The Warriors are currently 24-4 straight up at the Chase Center, and they're covering in nearly 70% of those contests. Now, Steph Curry's scoring 26 points a game, along with 5 boards and 6 assists. Meanwhile, Andrew Wiggins, he's scoring 18 points a game himself, along with 4 boards and a couple assists as well. Now, Wiggins is also making 42% of his three-pointers. And speaking of 3 balls, well, Golden State's in the top 5 in the NBA in offensive 3-point percentage. Meanwhile, defensively on the other end of the court, they're actually leading the NBA in guarding the field goal at home. They're taking on a Sacramento team who shoots just 32% from 3-land when they travel. And they're also in the bottom 10 in offensive field goal percentage on the road. Now, the Kings have lost 7 out of their last 8. And they also find themselves in the second of a back-to-back here tonight. One more thing to add here about Sacramento is that they've gotten the W in just 6 out of 24 ball games away from home this year. So these guys really struggling away from their home court. Now, injury-wise, Fox and Bagley are questionable. Meanwhile, for Golden State, Iguodala, Green, and Angelica are out. Porter is questionable. When it comes to the total in this one, Sacramento saw overs recently with New York, Milwaukee, and Detroit. They're also 14-10 to the over away from Sacramento. Meanwhile, Golden State saw 3 out of their last 5 get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward Golden State -13.5 in the over 224. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at brockpage.com, where we are currently 4-0 at our last 4 extra daily picks on that website. I like Minnesota -7 over 228.5. Toronto -3 under 224. Phoenix Suns -4.5 over 225. San Antonio +4.5 over 220. LA Lakers +4 over 218.5. And with my next and final free pick for the video, I'm going to lean toward Golden State -13.5 in the over 224. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on my website, just keep in mind you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. And if you want to get access to every single personal bet that I give out through the end of February, you're going to want to sign up for my board member tier package. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Thursday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at brockpage.com.